got to tell y'all about this thing called life. You know I got to share it. See, there's this thing called life. I got to tell y'all. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 160 of In a Good Way podcast. Today's special guest is Tangie Ambrose. She's an actress, author, happiness coach, and host of the Heaven High podcast. For many years, she believed she was an angel sent to bless and heal the world. Life challenged her, but through faith, meditation, and self discovery, Tangie turned pain into purpose and now helps others do the same. Please welcome the radiant Tangie Ambrose, whose motto is Life is Meant to Be Fun.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Tangie, thank you so much for being here. And also, we're now part of a new movement that's beginning the wheel. So
Yes.
me and
Yes.
Tangie are gonna be teachers as well. We'll share the website, and so I'm excited to talk a little bit about that too. That's how we
Yes.
met. Yeah, I'll put a link to the wheel website. We're going to both be teachers at a retreat, right? A spiritual retreat,
The
and
shift has happened. That's right.
absolutely, absolutely. So Tangie, if you don't mind, usually with my guests, I love to talk or find out from the beginning, right? When you were little, were you already experiencing spiritual things? Were there already things that you kind of suppressed that you were already now after having a huge awakening? Do you go back and remember, as a kid, I remember I used to have this imaginary friend or something or
You,
anything
you,
like that?
mine was kind of I was just always so happy. Just
Mm,
happy, happy, happy. Could find the good in any and everything. Could make someone feel good with my words, with my energy. I just spread joy all over the place. And that sounds pretty amazing, and it was really wonderful. But I couldn't always meet people where they were.
mm,
So if someone came to me and, oh my goodness, I got into a car accident, but you're still here.
ah,
Oh my goodness, my house caught on fire. But you can get another house. You're here. You're help. You know what I mean? I could only see the good.
mm,
And I thought that that was wonderful. But there were a few people, most people came to me for that, and it was wonderful. But it was a few people who I couldn't relate to because I couldn't meet them where they were.
mm,
And it wasn't like I didn't want to see it, I just couldn't. I
mm.
I equate it to when you're in love with someone, you only see the beauty, and then after you fall out of love, all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, is that the same person? And it is. But I couldn't see it. And in order for me to do the work that I needed to do, I needed to, and for me to live this life as a full-fledged human, I needed to be grounded in this body. And for many years, psychics would stop me and say, you need to be grounded. And I was like, what do you mean I need to be I'm grounded? You need to be grounded. I had one lady tell me I walked about 10 feet off the ground. And so I started trying to get grounded. What am I doing? I would do these visualizations and I would imagine that there was a root and it was anchored in the earth and it was holding me down. None of that stuff worked. And then my traumatic experience, that was when I had my baby girl and she was stillborn.
Oh,
And even with that, um, the story behind that, which I perform in my one woman show,
oh,
um, I knew it kind of like washed over me. It was a message. It's time for you to have children, and I wasn't dating anyone.
mm,
But I needed a man. So I started praying for my king. I went to a fight party. He walked in. I just knew that was him. We started dating. He didn't want any children. So I used to walk through the house and I used to talk to our kids and I would tell them to go to their father because, make him feel comfortable having children. And he was asleep. He woke up. He said, I just had this dream. He said, I saw our baby girl and she was looking at me like, You will not deny me. And she had your eyes. I'm going to name her Pebbles. I said, baby, you can't name the child Pebbles. What's she going to be, a stripper? He said, I'm naming her Pebbles. Literally, that's what I thought. But then the next week, I had a dream that I was visiting my aunt in the hospital and I was stealing a baby boy. He had on a shirt with no bottoms. He still had the tags around his toes. And he was crawling all over me because he loved me so much. And the people who were guarding the babies saw us, but they didn't stop us because we looked like we belonged together.
Mm.
And I was walking him outside. It was a sunny day. I couldn't find the car. So I turned back around to bring my son back in. And this little boy said, yo, man, what you doing back? And my son said, she'll be back to get me later. She couldn't find the car. So I woke up and I was like, I'm going to have a baby boy. So I
Wow.
was happy when I got pregnant. It was my girl. She was stillborn.
Mm.
I was I was hurt, I was angry, I was disappointed. I couldn't believe that God and my angels would do me like this with the
Mm.
work that I do. I'm like, how you going, this is Tangie, like we a team. And I was really dark. It was heaven high was gone.
Mm.
It was just a really sad time. And I kept asking, why? Because I always told people there's some good in every situation.
Mm.
And so my brain was, because without that, I literally wanted to run, but it was no place for me to go, you know? I mean, nowhere. So I kept saying, why? And after about 6 months, I'm standing in my house asking why. And I hear she did what you asked her to do. She just didn't do it the way you thought she would. She made her father want children. And when I heard that, I saw the darkness, like I was black and I saw it. And it was like a dark smoke. And from my feet up, the smoke came up and it came up until it was out and I could breathe again. And heaven high was back. And I didn't even realize I hadn't been breathing. But it was like I could see. And then I heard she was a powerful spirit. And
Mm.
she didn't have to come here anymore. But she chose to come back so that she could experience love in the womb and so that she could bless her brother and her sister because I get really big when I'm pregnant. And
Mm.
so after I got that, I was clear and I remembered the dream of my son. And so I ran around from doctor to doctor to find somebody that would help me. And finally, they told me I had a fibroid the size of a 13-week pregnancy. If I got pregnant again, the same thing would happen. If I took it out, there would be scar tissue and I wouldn't be able to get pregnant.
Wow.
But if you believe that God is with you, go for it. I was like, oh, God is with me. And I had my son
Wow.
at home in an all natural women's center, natural, fibroids still there.
Wow.
So with all of that, now I share with women who have had miscarriages and stillbirths. Oftentimes, when there's a life, we think that we're supposed to live outside the womb for 100 years, 99 years, 80 years, 90 years. There's really not a good time for people to die. Nobody, whether they're in the womb or out, we're like, oh no, but my baby had a full life. She
Mm.
came for what she needed. And she came to me because she wanted to experience that love. And a lot of women who have had miscarriages and stillbirths feel like they did something wrong.
Mm.
And so I'm here to share with them that they didn't and that it was a gift. They blessed that soul and that soul blessed them. But that wasn't enough to ground me. So after that happened, I could meet people a little better. But after a while, after I got going again, I was back walking off the ground.
Oh.
So what finally grounded me was during COVID. And my babies had bought me some skates, and
Mm.
I'm helping my daughter with her work, and I'm wearing the skates in the house, and I almost fall. She says, Mommy, take them off. I don't take them off because all my life I've lived as an angel and I don't get hurt. That doesn't happen to me. So I'm still with the skates. Oh, almost fall. No, I don't fall. So then when it's time for us to put everything back, I'm carrying these rocks out the house. And when I step on the front porch with the skates, I start to slip, but I catch myself. You would think that I took them off then, but I didn't.
Wow.
I'm on the porch, I step off, I start to slide, and my head starts to go back. And when it gets about here, time stops and everything starts to move in slow motion.
Wow.
And in slow motion, I see me fall. Boom. I see my head hit the cement, splatter open. Blood is everywhere. And my kids come out and they see me there, gone. And in that time, I tucked my head, tucked my tailbone, fell tailbone first, and
Mm.
then my head. And I was hurt for the first time in my life. I was
Wow.
hurt. My skull didn't crack open like it did in the vision, but I was hurt. And I kept going to doctors to fix me, fix me, fix me. And after that, maybe third visit, I was sitting in the doctor's office and I looked in the mirror and I heard that same voice that always talks to me says, "You're grounded." That situation, I couldn't even look over my shoulder, but it grounded me in my body.
Mm.
And then from then on, it was a journey back to find myself.
Mm.
And that journey was a blessing, even though it was very, very difficult, very, very painful. And I wanted to get back to who I was before when I only saw the good, because now I had to start applying what I had been teaching. I just knew that stuff some kind of way. But now I'm like applying and I'm reaching out to other healers to talk to me. I'm doing all the things that my people were doing,
Mm.
that I was teaching. And even though it was tough, now I've developed tools
Mm.
like I know that you can have peace in the midst of the storm, because these these last 12 years completion
Wow.
have been really, really tough.
Mm.
But I've been able to apply the lessons that I teach and still have my joy. Life is meant to be fun, have a good time, manifest, and do all the things. So
Wow.
that's my story in a nutshell, and through that, I have had a lot of visitations and, angelic visions. Like, I even had angels come and tell me about the birth of my baby girl who was stillborn,
Mm.
but they didn't tell me like that. They presented me a branch with no leaves.
Oh, wow.
And that's the name of my book, A Branch with
Mm.
No Leaves.
Wow.
So now I'll let you ask the questions because that's a lot. Mm.
No, no, no. We could have kept going like that for the rest of the time. Um, if you don't mind speaking about some of that, like what are some of the beings you've seen? Like you've been visited by the angels. Have
Oh,
you been made aware of who these angels were exactly? Like anything like that? Any family members that have visited you?
always family. And like, family comes, they come in the dream as how I remember them.
Hmm.
That's different. I've seen them that way. But when they come as, or in like whenever someone is getting ready to die or they die, they come to visit me. I don't know that they're dead, but I'm like, "Oh, you look good." When they talk about, "You're not sick," and then I wake up and find out that they have passed.
Hmm.
Sometimes they come in a feeling. I feel them and I know who it is. Um, but sometimes they come as angels where they're glowing and they're the feeling that I get from them is like, for lack of a better word, it's like an orgasm 150 times over. That's how good it feels to be in their presence.
Mm.
And everything that is on them feels good. The cloth, the the definition on the cloth, the fabric, the platters, I mean, it's just, I always want to jump up and call my aunt or somebody so that they can feel what I'm feeling, but it doesn't work like that. And then they're always in their 30s. They seem to be in their 30s and a really beautiful, healthy version of themselves.
Mm.
And when they come angelic like that, they never talk, but I hear them.
Mm.
You know, a lot of what I've done has been from messages from my angels. Even my one woman show, for years, I had been saying that I wanted to do a one woman show. Years, 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 years. But I was working as an actor and I wasn't taking time to write. And
Mm.
then my mother passed.
Oh.
And when my mother passed, I don't know if your parents are living or not, but when my mother passed, I just wanted her to be proud of me.
Mm.
And all of the movies, all of the TV shows, none of that stuff meant anything to me at that moment. None of it. And so I was like, my birthday's coming up. I want to do my show. And I had been trying to write about my mother. And I have a friend who is an angel communicator. And he came to me and he said, your mother is holding a script.
Mm.
And he said, this is either something that you've written and put aside or something that you're supposed to be working on. Do you know what it is? And I said, yes, it's that dag nabbit one woman show. Will you ask her what she wants me to write about? And he said, your mother wants you to write about the story that shares the most of you.
Mm.
And I grew up Pentecostal. And so it's no makeup, it's no games, no cars, no music, no cussing, no dancing, no secular stuff. A lot of no's, definitely no psychics and all of that stuff. But I have had a lot of experience with psychics where they just find me. They just, that kind of stuff just, and that's what my one woman show is about, Heaven
Oh.
High. It's about all of this actually.
Mm.
And so when my mother from the other side said for me to write about the story that shares the most of me, I started with my angels.
Mm.
It made me feel very comfortable writing some of those stories down and sharing. And so that's how that happened. But they guide me on a regular. Like for a year, I don't know, you've seen me before. I just cut off all my hair, right?
I didn't know you had cut it, so you cut it all off?
Yes,
I saw it long, but
my
I didn't know.
my locks were long.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yes, they were long. And for the last year, I have been hearing that voice that I know say, cut it all off, shave it off. And I'm like, but I'm older now. And
Mm.
what if my cheeks are fat or if my eyes or if, if I look old, what if? And I still kept hearing it. And I would do all kind of different things with my hair. And last week, this is a small way my angels talk. So last week, I was dog sitting and I lost the keys.
Mm.
And so I went to the car and I said, angels, please show me where these keys are. Because I had looked all over these, their house, my friends that I was taking care of the dog for them. And I heard them say in the closet where you hang up the dog leash. Now, why would I look in the closet? I looked everywhere, but I looked in the closet and there they were. And I would not have looked in the closet.
Mm.
So after that, because that same voice said, shave off your hair and had been saying it, I went straight to the bathroom, cut them one at a time, one at a time. And the more I cut, the freer I felt, the
Oh.
more powerful I felt, and surprisingly, the more beautiful I felt. Who
Mm.
would have thought when it's just face? But yeah,
No,
So
that's a beautiful
that's
story. Yeah.
yeah. So they talk to me. They talk to me. Even with my after I had my son, I was done. And then I got pregnant again and I wasn't ready to get pregnant, right?
Mm,
Because I was like, I got my man, I got my baby, I'm cute. What? No. And then that same voice started telling me this is a girl child. She's a happy spirit, but she's not supposed to be here right now.
mm,
So I started telling people, they're like, keep the faith, keep believing. But it wasn't that I didn't believe, I heard it. And so when she came out at 13 weeks, I held up her little sack and I said, oh, you weren't pleased with your accommodations, huh? Well,
mm.
if you're a jokester, you'll come back in June because my son's birthday is March the 18th, his dad,
Oh,
March the 8th. My birthday is June the 4th. My daughter came back June the 9th.
wow.
So with everything, my life feels like I have life experiences to keep me on my path, to make me slow down, to make me speed up, to make me listen, to teach me everything I learn. Someone comes and I'm able to share. So I'm thankful for all those experiences, and learning how to navigate in the midst of them has just been a wonderful gift to share with other people. And
Ab-
that's how Heaven High, um, well, that's how the Heaven High show came about. And the book is, my Coming to Peace with God. And then Heaven High podcast. For years, I have been hearing that we're moving into a new world.
mhm,
And I even told my mother before she passed, and I told her it's going to get worse before it gets better, but it's going to get better. All of this is good. I remember I used to say, like when your face breaks out and you get a pimple, we've been putting patches on the world, patches on everything. But now there are no patches, and the boil has popped and
mm,
it's oozing all out of everything. And so instead of worrying and saying, oh, the ooze, we got to give thanks for the ooze because you can't heal what you don't feel.
mm.
And so now we can see everything clearly. Because for a long time, the world was doing like I was back in the day. We weren't seeing what was happening. But that doesn't stop it from building up. So now it's healing, it's bustling over, but there are a lot of really great things happening in the world too. So I try to get people to see the greatness, to pray for the planet, to pray for everybody. Sometimes I look and I see the world, the United States, and it's like it's fear and it's anger and it's frustration. It's dark. And so in my mind, I'm like, whew, I can be a little light because the world needs light, and that multiplies to spread and help heal the planet. And I try to do that on my podcast, and we do that on In a Good Way. We're
Absolutely.
doing that on our retreat because the more light, the more lit up. Especially those of us who believe in heart, who are connected with the other side, who know better. We can't get caught up in the reality. We didn't come here to just experience all of this. We came here to create. We have power, mastery, and dominion. And so, you can pay attention to what you listen to. You can meditate. It's a lot of things that we feed ourselves every day. Eating, if we eat the wrong thing, we're gonna get sick. If we listen to the same mess constantly, it's gonna affect us. So that's what I try to help people do, and to find the good and to see their purpose. And whatever other questions they have. I also teach people human design.
Mm,
I love to do human design workshops because it's a method where they can see who they are, and it helps them to find their bliss. And if we could all find our bliss, oh my goodness, imagine how wonderful the world would be right now. So
absolutely.
there it is. I'm a
Ah,
talker, huh?
No, that's great. I love it. I already knew, you know. I don't know. Well, in case nobody, because we talked about it before. You don't mind if I say it, right?
No, not at
Yeah,
all.
because we're talking about how we're both Geminis, right? So I was all right. This is gonna be uh an easy conversation to have. Just every time, unfortunately today we only have about an hour, right? But yeah, I've done maybe. I know I talked with a Gemini almost 4 hours and another one like 3 hours, and so they always go long.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
so
can go. We can go. We can
yeah.
go. Do you have any favorite podcasts that you've done? Like any favorite interviews?
I
Or like
mean,
what gets you excited when you interview somebody?
oh, the story. No, I mean, if you want a little background, I could tell you real quick, right? I know
Yes, please.
my people that listen probably already heard all my stories, but I've been experiencing things since I was little. So at one point, um, I think when I had it just so many things were happening. I started sharing. I stopped being, but I would post videos like on before it was popular. I would post videos like on Instagram, but then I delete them, right? I'd post videos on YouTube, but then delete them because I was like, everyone's gonna think I'm crazy. Later on, like if someone finds out at work, I'm talking about, whatever, God and angels and, even these other
Tell me
beings
some
and
stories. Tell me some stories. Y'all, please don't mind him telling me some stories. Only just tell me two, please.
like for example, oh, it's funny. Well, I'd love to tell you that your story just helped me. It gave me perspective because this year, my brother passed away. It was one of the big awakenings because unfortunately he had taken his life, right? He was
Okay.
also a Gemini. He was 6'6". Yeah, we were very,
Wow.
very close. But after that, I was, visited and all this stuff by these beings and everything. And they showed me like how we had already agreed to it. They showed me like the whole breakdown, right? But anyways, what happened with that was, well, just recently, right? He visited me in the dream recently, and he just said that. He said, "Omar, stay grounded, or you have to stay grounded." And I was like, I was been trying to like, okay, I thought I knew what it meant, but the same.
I just got chills, Omar. I got chills. I got chills. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and what's funny is I had another dream, maybe I don't know, it was the end of last year, but it was like that. I was like in meditation with someone, and then I started floating all the way to the ceiling, and they're looking at me like, "Whoa, I can't do that." Like, and then I was looking at them like, "Oh," so then I come back down to the ground, and it was the same how you said, like you're always 10 feet above the ground. So it's like that.
Yep.
Like sometimes you just can't. You have to be on the same level.
Yep.
So that gave me that perspective. Right now, when you're talking about that, I was like, "Oh, is that what stay?" Because I thought he was just saying stay grounded, so I don't lose it in all around all the chaos that's happening everywhere else, right? But that I like that perspective, like about just.
And what's interesting is it's kind of like a tree.
Mm,
Like we're grounded, we're rooted in the earth, but still reaching up to the heavens. So we keep that connection. We just got to keep that connection to the earth while we're here. That's our gift. We're human right now,
yeah, yeah.
you know? Ah. And
Absolutely.
your brother, so he comes to visit you too.
Yeah, yeah, but with him it was like that was it was in 2019, so I wrote a book because of that because I think a lot of people they don't have like I had physical evidence to show. It took over the course of 4 years showing me all the signs. So it showed how pretty much, not pretty much, my life, it showed the agreement like there's proof that I guess my life was planned, but not just me. It even goes into the how this is a creation. Why? So it's really strange how it's whether it's being co-created or but it's all design. It's the crazy thing, right?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Am I really doing this? Or let me tell you, when I was 12, all of this is in my one woman show. You got to see it because we're like,
Absolutely.
"Ugh." When I was 12, I was at my middle school, and this little girl claimed she knew how to read palms.
Oh,
And so she was reading people palms, and I wanted her to read my palms. my palm. And this is when I knew I was an angel, hear the blessing, heal the world. And she looked at my palm and she said, "You're going to have 3 abortions, a miscarriage, a stillbirth, and 2 babies." First of all, I didn't know what all that stuff was, but I never forgot it. I
Wow.
never forgot it. And as I got older and I understood, I thought, that's ridiculous. Me? Me? But she was right.
Mm,
She was right. Now, some of this was because I thought I was an angel. So I thought I could handle, I tried to take care of everybody, but I wasn't taking care of me.
mm,
So that's part of my lesson too. But so I agree with you. Like, how did she know that back then?
yeah.
How did she know? How did she
Yeah.
know? Could it have been different? Okay, go ahead. Songs like that, my agreement. Am I doing this or you doing this? But that's a power thing too. That's why I always listen to that voice, because when I listen, I'm like, okay, I'm doing what you said. So now you got to take care of me. Okay, you go. Finish
No,
telling me,
well,
please.
well, now it's like, even like still, right? Obviously, we're in this human body, so I'll go through my struggles, and even I'll just finish a struggle, and then they'll show me the sign that it's like, okay, even this was a part of it, and I'm just like, so it never ends, right? And but obviously, when we go through these things, we can teach others, we can help others, and that was the thing. It was funny when I was little. I was inspired by the whole, I read the Bible fairly young, and because that, I started having all these things happen,
Yes.
and that was only reference back then, right? It was before YouTube, before Google, right? So I had to read books, right? And it was funny because that's what would happen to me. I just knew I'd open an encyclopedia and I'd know where like to go, and it'd be like
Yes.
these things,
Yes.
right? It was
Yes.
weird, but like something was already talking to me, all this stuff. But um, so that was my reference point, and what was I lost my train of thought? Where was I going with that? Well, um, I don't know. I lost my train of thought, so it's fine. Maybe I wasn't supposed to talk about that. I don't know what we were saying about the agreements and this and that. Um,
Yes.
yeah, but
Yes.
it's
About
it's
the
it's fine. Well, I'll just tell you another story. Like, or I wanted to ask you. So when you've seen, like, they appear to you in person too, or mostly in visions, like when you're sleeping, or when you're meditating, or they do
it
appear to you like in person.
mostly it's they're there, but I'm not asleep and I'm not awake.
Mm,
It's not even like I'll be like I can't make them come. I don't have any control over it. It's just I'll be in a state and then it's like there they are.
yeah,
But it
absolutely.
does happen a lot when I'm sleeping.
Mm,
But the when they come as angels, then I'm not sleep. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's different. It might be best way, like my mother has come as an angel, but not like I knew it was her, but not the her that I know. But it wasn't like when the angels came. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and since she left her body, I have gotten a lot of messages in dreams,
Mm,
3 parts, you know, and it seems like all of my messages are about me learning how to take better care of myself. Don't be afraid to say no, speak up. Um, because my number one concern was always the other person,
mm.
or right. Like I remember one dream when I just wanted to see my mother, wanted to see my mother, wanted to see my mother. And at the beginning of the dream, this was before my friend told me about the script. I was in a jewelry store and there was, how they have something in the center that's really special. And it was a stand, and I was squeezing something out my finger, like a bowel movement, a release or
Oh wow.
something out my finger, my writing hand, right? And when I saw it, I was like, wow. And I was trying to take pictures of it. but all these snakes were trying to prevent it from happening. So I
Wow.
held the camera back, and a bigger one lurched at me. So I ran outside. Then we're the second part of the dream, and I'm in my car in the driver's seat, and there's a lady outside the passenger window who wanted a ride.
Mm.
And I kept telling her no, and she was begging, and that voice was telling me, no, don't let that lady ride. But
Oh.
she seemed sad, and I didn't want to hurt her feelings. So I said, okay. And I grabbed my purse, opened the door, and another person came and tried to grab my purse. But because I grabbed it, they couldn't get it, right? I
Mm.
get out the car, and the lady and I are fighting, hitting each other in the third chakra. We're just hitting each other right here,
Wow.
and it made me feel like, speak up, Tangie. Say no. Don't be afraid to say no. Write your truth. Speak up. And then the third part of the dream was I was on the side of the road, and there was a car there, and my mother was in the car, and she was driving. And she looked really pretty, and she was
Mm.
smiling, and she was my mother, but she wasn't. And I'm on the side of the road, and I'm just waving at her. I'm like, mother, mother, it's me, you see me, it's me. But she didn't see me, and she was happy. And when I woke up, I heard, she's always going to be near me, but she's on her evolutionary journey.
Wow.
Don't worry, she's good. Isn't that something?
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
they come all different kinds of ways. Or like when I was doing a lot of movies when I first moved out here, um Thin Line and Jackie's Back and Jackie Brown was a lot. I got to hook up a lot of TV, a lot of film. I had a cousin back home that I said would enjoy all of this. His
Mm.
personality is the type. And I started missing him and seeing his face everywhere, but he had passed.
Oh.
And he came to me in a vision, and he said, Tangie, you're still there. Play the game.
Mm.
Play the game. So stuff like that is what happens to me. When I was little, I didn't necessarily see things like I knew things. Like you said, the encyclopedia, I knew things. You could come and ask me something, and I could tell you what that meant.
Mm.
I could advise you back when I was little. And people used to say, you should write a book, you should write a book. But I couldn't write a book because I didn't know what to write about, because it never came from me.
Mm.
It always came through me. And growing up as an only child, my friends were my angels.
Mm.
That's who I would talk to. That's who I would play with. I was never lonely, you know. But so there've been so many things when I meet people who have someone that has passed over, or someone that has committed suicide. I've spoken to enough people and enough folk who've had near death experiences. My near death experiences were quick. I've spoken to enough to feel, and seen enough in my visions to know that they're okay. Don't worry. They don't even want us worrying.
Yeah.
They don't want us over here feeling bad. And I believe it's all part of God's plan. I've even had them tell me, the people who have had near death experiences, who do believe in, the other side, down their side, and tell me how they were there and they said, God, and instantly they were out.
Mm.
I'm sure you've heard those stories too.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've experienced certain things as well, right? But not like being in, but I've
Yeah.
ex I've experienced it, and then you know, I actually once there was something that was like, I think, choking me or something, or with like one of those things. But I actually called out to my brother, and bam, like that. I was, yeah,
Gone.
yeah.
See?
I was awake. I was like, whoa. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Exactly. Exactly. Yesterday, or day before yesterday, I was sharing a story about a little friend of mine. And it was a young girl who felt like people shouldn't run to their mother when they have problems.
Oh,
And
really?
I said, baby girl, at my age, I said, if I could talk to my mother right now, oh, it would soothe my soul. And when I said that, Omar, she was there.
Wow.
Like it just, and it's like, oh, and it was just, everything's gonna be okay. When people pass, that's another thing I try to do is help people um, help people to communicate with their loved one that has passed over, help them to stay open to it, help them to listen, to respond out loud.
Mm,
You know, because I tell them they're reemerging in the non-physical, so they're learning all over again too. So you let them know when you hear them, when you see them, when you understand that's them talking to you. The more you let them know, the more communication you'll get. When
absolutely.
my aunt passed, she came to all the cousins. She visited all of us, not in the angel form, but as herself with the blue dress, her little hair, and the hat on. Scared some of them, you know, didn't scare me, but it's a beautiful thing. It's just a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Um, well, I was gonna share one story with you real quick about but I wanted to ask you real quick about how did you come up with the name Heaven High for the podcast?
Oh, heaven high. Well, when I first moved to LA, before I started working as an actor, I had a lot of time to think and a lot of time to think. And one day I realized when I was saying hello, I was saying low,
Mm.
HELLLOW. And
Uh,
I said, I don't want to say that. I wanted something to help people look up, think up, feel up. And so I prayed for another greeting. And what I heard was heaven high. And that was in maybe 1997.
oh.
And it has just evolved. You know, it's just, that's what people know me now, heaven high.
Ah, I love
And
it.
now it ends up meaning so much more. Like it is my greeting, heaven high, but it's also when someone crosses over, it's a release for them, heaven high, you
Mm.
know? Yeah, and it's my story. I guess that's why it's the name of my show. When I originally did my show, it was called Two Quarters to Heaven High
Oh.
because I was turning 50.
Oh,
Two
wow.
quarters.
Mm.
Yeah, so it explained my journey up to that point. But now the show has evolved to so much more as I have, you know. So tell me your story. I don't want you to forget.
No, no, just I think because you asked me at least two stories. So one was that about seeing everything, the design and everything, and I'm still, I'm constantly showing. And now I've been able to bring other people into it. So like anyone that's around me, I'll be able to show proof. Like, look, like how everything's so perfectly planned. It's too perfect to be coincidence or anything like that, right? So I can bring people into my
So
reality, I get and
so
see.
so how? Okay, so
Yeah.
you already know in March we're gonna have to sit and you gotta make that happen for me. You already know, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
How do you do that?
Well, it's just like for example, for me, it's just, people it's just in right because the language of the universe is like numbers, right? Obviously, right? So that's what happened. Like to me, the book I wrote is called 216 and the Secrets of the Universe, right?
Okay.
But the reason it's called 216 was because that's the day that my brother took his life, right? On 216. But
Ah,
what happened was after that, after they came to me, at first I thought it was an angel, right? It was like she came, she had all this authority, she had a uniform, she spoke to me telepathically. She took me to where my brother was and she just nodded, like, go. I already knew. She nodded and she was like, go talk to him. So she took me to where he was at, and that he was getting ready for the next phase of his journey, right? He was in wherever, however we want to
yes.
call it, heaven or whatever, but he was preparing for the next phase of, she took me to go talk to him. And I thought, she almost she looked like us, but I could tell she seemed like an angel, right? She almost had like if she was a colonel or or something like that, a colonel, someone with authority, right?
Howard,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. And then so she was just like, go ahead. And then so I talked to him. And then when I woke up, I knew, and it was crazy. It was like my closet didn't have a door, and I looked, and I knew there was this frame, but it was like in an like a not an envelope. It was like a picture frame when you open it like that, like those kind of like a book
Yes.
picture frame.
Yes.
And before I even I just knew, right? Before I even opened it, I was like, no freaking way, right? Like this is. And when I opened it, it was from when I had graduated in the military, and the date was 216, but 12 years prior. So 12, right away I knew, okay, 216, 12 years
Wow.
prior. So okay, my brother just graduated. It was like just like, and then I thought about it. The clock goes to 12, starts over. The months go to 12, and then they start over. In school here, we go from like first grade through 12th, and then it's higher learning. So I was like, okay, so they're showing me, because that's when I was going to a dark place. So they were showing me like, okay, he graduated. Just like you're gonna graduate eventually, boom, he graduated. But then it even in less than a month after that, that's when Nipsey Hussle was murdered. You know who Nipsey Hussle is, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
And I kept hearing his voice in my head. So, at that point, I was already like, and when my brother passed, like there was no veil anymore, right? So everything was boom. And so I kept hearing Nipsey Hussle. I was like, I must be channeling him. I was like, man, I hope he's not trying to tell me I have to contact his family or something, because they're gonna be like, who's this crazy guy,
This
right?
guy,
I
yeah.
kept hearing. I never used to listen to his music. I didn't. It was like it seemed like his was more street stuff, and I had already outgrown that phase of my life, right? I grew up with all that, but I was already like, but I was like, all right, I was curious. Let me go listen to him. So I was like, you know what? He has some songs that, it's positive message. So when I went and look at his last album, which was his only studio album that was
Don't tell
nominated,
me it said 216.
it was released on 216. Exactly. So it was
Wow.
like, now it was three pieces to and what was it called? The Victory Lap. So my
Wow.
graduation, my brother's graduation, Nipsey Hussle's Victory Lap. And
Wow.
then the cookie crumbs just unfolded, right? Everything was like, yeah, it was, and it went back to thousands of years. So then it was like showing me, like, and I started having visions of that. So I was like, I was designing this stuff even in past lives. Like, so it was connected to everything, even that, the 4K that we see, the dimensions are 216 by something else. The paper we use is 260 millimeters. Like,
Yes.
everything in this reality has that
Yes.
number. But me, it went back to the first song I ever wrote, places I visited. So it was all throughout my childhood to now. It still continues. Like my parents finally got it. Like the other day, my dad, he had this heart surgery, and I went to visit him at the hospital. He was so excited because he's like, you can't believe the room I'm in. I'm in 216. And then my mom went to a doctor's visit, and she's like, you can't believe it. The room was 216 for the doctor. And so, now they're seeing,
They're aware, they're paying
yeah,
attention.
because because since they're an extension of me, or I'm an extension, or we're in this together, now they can see. And that's how, other people will start seeing, like, oh, wait a second, like,
Wow.
the lotto number just recently, it was 260.
216?
Yeah. I, like a couple of days ago, I was driving by. It was like, yeah, so
Wow.
for me, I'm able to show people, like, and I wrote the book, what, how many years ago, and now like it's showing. And then I don't know if you saw, like, for the SAG, for the acting, for all, like, last year, it was the rate was like 216 for 8 hours, for the, like, background. Yeah,
Wow.
right when I had already started talking about it, then they changed the rate to that, and I was like, okay, this is just comical. You know what I mean?
That's crazy, but I
Yeah,
believe that you make me want to go and
yeah.
uh you oh, I got an example, I think, of numbers because I don't pay as much attention to numbers as I probably should because I can't tell you the date of any of my. That's so bad. I got to do better. But I do know my mother My mother's name was Betty, but my kids called her Tutu, and
Oh,
she passed on Tutu.
wow.
I think she
See?
held on for that day.
Yeah.
And like in my book, A Branch with No Leaves, I have a lot of synchronicities in there, but they're different kind of synchronicities. Like my children's father, he did name my baby girl Pebbles.
Mm.
And then when I had our son, he wanted to name him Rock Hard or Rock Star. So his name is Rock. He doesn't have a
Oh,
middle
okay.
name. And then our baby girl, her name is Stone.
Mm.
Her middle name is Love, Stone Love. So he would give me choices and I would pick the final choice. But after everything happened, I put it together where Pebbles, like in that story of David and Goliath, remember he was afraid.
Mm.
That little pebble broke through all that fear.
Oh,
Then he wanted a bunch of kids. And then we had rock. On this rock, I build my church.
wow.
And then we had stone. All God's promises are written in stone.
Mm.
So I see it like that. Or,
Yeah, yeah.
hmm?
No, no, I get it the same way too. So, go ahead, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt
Oh,
you.
I was gonna say, and if it's someone that's atheist, because I don't have a problem speaking to anybody,
Yeah, yeah.
then I say you pave the road with pebbles, you decorate, build a house with rocks, decorate it with stone. So either way, we built the house with these three entities. We've created a whole world just with the three pebbles, rock, and stone. And so now I think it was a reason that they had those names, even if he didn't know the reasoning behind why he did it, or even if his reasoning was different, you know. But
Absolutely.
what were you gonna say? What were you gonna say?
Uh,
I cut
I
you
don't know,
off.
but I forgot. But the sec because I know that was still like the second story I was gonna tell you was just like I'm like you, right? Like I listen when they tell me things, and so one day, I was in pain where I couldn't even walk, and so the voice tells me go up the mountain. I was like, how am I gonna go up the mountain? I could barely walk. Like I was in so much
Right.
pain. Like my back, I was like I can't even like stand straight. How am I gonna climb up the mountain? Go to the mountain. Okay, fine. I go and I hike all the way up the mountain and I make it to the top. And by the time I get to the top of the mountain, I'm like, there's no pain. Like, what? How is this even
Wow.
possible? So
Yep.
I'm at the top of the mountain. I pray as I'm heading down, you know, what I know now was an angel appears, right? But it was crazy because my heart felt like it exploded. My third eye starts vibrating. I'm just like, I'm trying to think logically. But he appeared to me like as a native man. He looked like he didn't have a shirt on. He had like this black paint on his face, the feathers, right? He just had the cloth and he had a staff, right? Like a medicine staff.
Yes.
And so after I couldn't stop crying for like over five, I'm looking around in case there's any hikers, like so. But I was just bawling, like like the tears were, but it was love. It was like I can't even express.
Because
Probably how you said,
because
yeah,
it
yeah,
feels so it feels so good.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And so after that week, I interviewed someone from Mexico that her specialty is communicating with angels. And as I'm telling her this story, and that it started happening, she's like, "Wow, when you're describing them." And I'm like, what, you think it was an angel? She's on. I know it was an angel, but what do you think? I was like, well, why did he appear to me as a native, like medicine man? She's all, because that's who you felt comfortable with, So that's who he appeared. But even the staff, right? So she had a tattoo of that angel right here, and I'm like, what? I'm like, you think it was him? Yeah, and
No.
it's like in Spanish, it's Raphael, Archangel
Oh,
Raphael, Archangel
Archangel
Raphael, and he's
Raphael.
the healer.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, I was
Yes.
in pain, the healer. And then she even said,
Ah.
she's like, okay, today, why did you choose the flyer, the color that you did for our, because we did it live. She's like, why did you choose that color? And I told her I wasn't. I was gonna use another color, and something kept telling me use green, use green. I was like, I don't like the green. I don't like how it looked. And they're like, use green. Okay, fine. I used the green, and then that's his color. I was like, what? I was like, and then she's on today's his day. Actually, the day that we did the podcast, that's his day. That was his color. So after that, I was like, wow, it was him, right? So he appeared, and it's like that. See, like you just listen, and
Yep.
before a lot of times they'd come to me, but that he was like right in front of me. So it was different. It wasn't like A lot of times it would be like, or I could see him in my third eye or in visions, but he was like, boom, he appeared,
He
and I think
was
the
right
presence, yeah,
there.
the presence was so overwhelming that it felt like my heart just boom, right? The tears, but it was tears of love. The third eye was like, just shit, like going in circles. I could just feel it. It was just this amazing experience. So that's just two little stories.
Those are great stories. And let me tell you what you made me think about with those two stories. One thing is, I love like when they told you to walk, you're like, how am I gonna walk? I'm hurt. I can't walk. And like when they told me to cut my hair, I can't cut my hair. My cheeks are fat. What? I love that we have such a relationship with the voice that we talk to them like real,
Yeah,
real.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
And that's something that I like to share to people because oftentimes they feel like you gotta, but you don't. You don't. You can just talk. You can just talk. And then another thing is, like, you said earlier, I believe we chart our lives.
Mm,
I believe we do. That's in my show too. That's another story. And I believe that when we chart our lives, our soul is out these bodies. And you know how like when they've come to me, it's been paralyzingly good.
mm.
I can't move. Like you said, you're happy and you're crying and it's all love. And that's why we chart all this craziness. Because imagine when we're writing it down, we're like, it feels so good. Yeah, so okay, so what? I'm gonna lose my house. Okay, I'll get another one. Oh, what's gonna happen next? He's gonna break up. Okay. And then somebody's gonna die. Yes. Oh, I'll take it all. Yeah. Okay. And then I'll work through. We're really in our power and able to see that we can handle, like they always say, Lord, don't give me no more than you can bear. When we're one with that energy without this body, oh my gosh, we know we can handle all that stuff. So yeah, make that happen, make that happen, make that happen. That's what you made me think about.
Yeah.
So if any of you listeners are out there are going through something, you charted this and you're going to make it through. Just trust yourself. Trust yourself and follow that path and just take one step at a time. You don't have to handle next week right now. Just today. What's today? Is today the 16th? What's today?
18th, I believe.
The 18th. Today is the 18th. Deal with the 18th. And if that's too much, you can deal with the time. It's almost 6 o'clock to deal with that. One step at a time. And then, if that's hard to do, just think of one thing that makes you happy or one thing that feels good. Anything. Sometimes you got to grasp, it can be a chocolate chip cookie. I
Mm,
don't know, but if you just keep going, it's going to get better. It's going
absolutely.
to get better. Yeah.
No, no.
Oh, I love that. I love both of those stories.
No, no, I
Mm.
love all your stories. Yeah, and I wish we had more time. But before we go, any other messages? Like, so you have your book, you do the one woman show, you also do coaching as well. So where can people reach out to you? Where can they? And you have, I'll put the links to you have a YouTube channel as well where the Heaven High podcast
Yes.
is.
Yes. And you have to come on my podcast one day
Whenever,
too.
just
Yes.
let me know, and I'm there.
Yes. 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 I am what I do very, very well. Now I'm in the process of getting my website together because I'm like, I should have all this together, shouldn't I? In one little spot. So the best way right now is either Heaven High Podcast at gmail.com, HeavenHiPodcast at gmail.com, or reach out to me on Instagram. That's one of my favorites. I don't even talk on the phone like I used to. Like you can call me on Instagram, you can text me on Instagram, you can send me videos and pictures and everything. And I'm at Tangie Ambrose on Instagram, unless you're interested in coming on the podcast. And then that would be at Heaven High Podcast. But you can reach me either way.
Perfect. And yeah, I'll put all the links so everyone could just click underneath the interview and if they want to get
And
a
I have my store. I have heavenhigh.com, but I'm having this what do you call it? Is it surgence or resurgence? What
research.
is it? Yes, where
Mm.
I just want to do everything over.
Mm.
I think it happened when I cut my hair.
No, that makes perfect sense. You know, it was crazy because I felt like I'm going through something. They called me, they called me to like to be on some show and it kind of almost I almost didn't want to do it. But then it was because even then I had my beard really long, and so I had to,
Okay.
yeah, I had a
Oh,
clean
you had to
shave,
shave your beard.
everything, and I didn't want to do it. But also they asked me to play a dead body, right? So someone that, so and they literally wrapped me up in plastic, and I was like, this is so strange and spiritual that, and someone, right, like they had told me, like something too. So it was like all these things were just happening to where it was like okay something's making me go through a whole like little death and rebirth
Yes.
kind of thing right now and I don't know I'm just gonna go with the flow but
Go with
I
the
can see it.
flow.
Yeah, I can see it. And then the significance of literally like playing a dead body like on a show. I was like
Wrapped up.
yeah, yeah.
Let me tell you on CSI probably, I don't know, 10 years ago. I was in the cold open. I was a prostitute and
Mm.
I was, walking with my guy and we saw a dead body and I said, he need help and we helped him. And I was telling the cop, I ain't do it. That was basically the scene. 5 years later, they called me back as that character. And
Wow.
so now I'm rescuing people. And after I rescue these people, I get cleaned up. And
Wow.
now I'm helping other prostitutes on the show. I'm recurring. But they had to kill me off because I was helping too many folk. They said they'd bring me back as a twin. They might, because they brought me back 5 years later. But guess how I died on that show?
Wow.
On the cross.
Wow.
Isn't that something? On the cross. On the cross. I've only died twice there, and I died on this show where I played a detective, A House Divided. And I
Oh.
came in and I was no like this, ready to get the guy, and they shot me. Boom.
Wow.
I like to die, but
Yeah.
I think on TV.
Hey.
But I think the way you were wrapped in the plastic, was your face wrapped too?
Yeah, but they're very respect. It was funny because they were like, okay, because it was hot, and then they're like, we're just gonna do it real quick, and then they had to take the photos, like the detective photos, because it was on
Yes,
one of those shows
yes,
too.
yes.
I'm always like, because I'm like, I know we sign all these, or we're not supposed to say this, and we're not supposed to say that, before, because this one hasn't came out yet, so I'm just like,
Oh,
yeah,
so
yeah,
yes, so don't
yeah, yeah,
say,
yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, they did it, and yeah, yeah, and they were just like, okay, we're gonna go ahead, ready, take a deep breath, da, 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 okay, and then wrap me up, and then I was like, all right, I was like, that was so interesting. I wonder what, but I get
Was
it.
it
I see it. I see it happening. Like even that, this is part of it. Like I had kind of let the podcast fall to the side, and I got so many signs. So I think I was just being reluctant, right? Like something about it, like for some weird reason, I just wasn't starting up again, and I saw like so many signs, like to get going with the podcast again. So you're like my first one, like at least in. I want to say maybe 2 months, right? So I hadn't even been doing it at least for 2 months. And even before then, I probably
wow.
did one and I hadn't done one for at least over a month. And so I'm really happy to be listening.
Yay. I
Yeah,
didn't even have to think about it either when I got your message. I was like, because I remembered you from our Zoom. I was like,
absolutely.
oh, I like him. Okay, yeah. Mm.
No, well,
We're gonna
thank
have a
you.
good time.
No, no,
Yeah.
I'm honored. I'm honored. I wish we had more time, and we can always do it again, and we can always talk. And well, next time I'll definitely come on your podcast whenever Whenever you're
Yes.
ready, just let me
And then
know.
I get to ask you all kind of questions.
Absolutely. See, that's why too. Well, I'm glad I didn't, go too deep into too many of the stories, because then you could ask me and I could go into, and I'm a talker too, so don't. I'll go like,
So we'll be good. We'll be good.
yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much.
No, Tangi, thank you so much. It's an honor. I look forward to doing it again and hearing more stories. And we didn't get to share too much about the wheel, but as more information comes out about the retreat and everything, we'll share more information. We'll do another one. And look at the sun. I know my face probably looks all crazy right now. The sun set on me, and well, it's right in front of me. I love looking at it, but I know for the video it looks, it's all crazy. But I love the sun, so it's all good.
Yes, perfect. And it's
Yeah.
good for you. So that's good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, I'll put all of Tangi's links below, so if you want to get in contact with her, maybe she'll, bring you up too, and you're gonna feel better
Yes.
and
Yes. My
everything.
my Heaven High podcast is it's I like to talk about supernatural things and experiences. And it's either going to be supernatural or it's going to be, like beyond the physical,
Yeah,
or healing.
absolutely.
And usually with the healing, it combines with the supernatural. So it's going to be interesting tomorrow. My podcast is every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, and
Oh.
tomorrow I have this lady. I have so many friends that are premenopause. I know you don't know nothing about that. In menopause, perimenopause, and they're saying all these negative things. They're not excited about it,
Mm,
not looking forward to it. I have to deal with none of that stuff they're talking about. And I found a sister who wrote a book about it, and she talks about the beauty and the power in it all.
mm,
And I believe in the power of words, and faith comes by hearing. And so I'm excited about planting some positive seeds in people's minds, in ladies' minds. Because if whatever we look for, we're going to find.
mhm.
I'm probably going to see 216 all day tomorrow.
Probably, probably.
So, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, I'll tune in. I'll definitely, I look forward to seeing the podcast and hearing some
You
beautiful
don't need
stories.
to tune in to hear about menopause. You don't have to worry about it.
Oh, okay.
You just be nice to the woman. You can tune into another episode. There are some episodes on there that you would like. It's
Okay.
some interesting people, but you don't need to tune in tomorrow.
Okay.
But
Okay.
any of you sisters or men that are dealing with a woman that's going through menopause, you tune in because you'll be able to help her help herself. Because everybody's healing themselves. We just assist,
Mm, I love
do
that.
like Jesus did. So get their thinking right because it starts here.
I love that. That's a beautiful way to end this conversation. So, Tangi, thank you so much. Again, I'll put all the links. It was an honor having this conversation with you, and thank you to everybody that tuned in. And on that note, we'll end it there. All right.
Thank you.
Life may move fast, or it may move slow. I met a silly man who said he make it slow. We look up out towards space, or even at the sky. One that gets away, but never look inside. Breathe in, breathe out. Life is a maze, but we'll figure this out. I mean, human beings, I ain't got no doubt. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I wanna feel this way forever.